Great show for you today. Bill Gates had a message for number one tennis player and quote-unquote unvaccinated Novak Djokovic earlier this May.
If they're an inspirational and trusted person, then if they're spreading that, it just makes it tougher to get the vaccination levels that we really need.
We're going to listen to the whole thing later. Djokovic has been banned from the US Open because the US apparently won't let athletes travel in if they're not vaccinated. That means that we've become a more tyrannical country than even the UK in this regards, because he recently just won Wimbledon for his fourth time straight, by the way, and they let him compete there.
Novak Frank from L'Equipe. Which good news are you waiting exactly from US Open? Exemption or?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not vaccinated and I'm not planning to get vaccinated, so the only good news I can have is them removing the mandated green vaccine card or whatever you call it to enter United States, or exemption. I don't know. I don't think exemption is realistically possible, or if that is possibility, I don't know what exemption would be about. So I don't know. I don't have much chances there. I think it's just whether or not they remove this in time for me to get to USA.
Should be a great show. We're starting now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry for the technical difficulties. So we had like 1,600, 1,700 people between Facebook and YouTube. And then I go and click and I see that like it goes down to 400 or 300. So I knew something happened, and Facebook apparently banned the video midstream because there was copyright problems with the BBC interview of Novak Djokovic talking about how he will stand up against mandates no matter what the cost is. They even plugged, because they'll tell you the time frames that they take down the video for. One of them was 40 seconds that I understand, but one of them was like 17 seconds. I've never seen them take down a clip with like such a short period of time, because you're allowed to obviously play news clips. News channels do it all the time. It's all good though. That was the thing, the copyright strikes. I guess either BBC has like a vice grip on that interview specifically, because I've played clips from them before, no problem. Or, whatever. I'm not going to start a theory about it. We'll just keep it moving. So Novak Djokovic, if you guys don't know, I'm thrilled with what he's doing. He's the number one tennis player in the world. He's possibly the greatest tennis player of all time. He just won Wimbledon 4 times in a row, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest tournaments. And the US Open is a huge tournament in America that he's not allowed to come to. As an American citizen, obviously, it's not cool to get out-freedomed by Britain. This is terrible. He's allowed to go into Britain, but apparently they're not letting people and athletes travel to America. So, I was going to play these clips, but I guess I shouldn't, based on copyright strikes. So I guess I'll just paraphrase it. I found a interview from Bill Gates from May 2022, and he's talking about, I guess, like, Djokovic being irresponsible when it comes to vaccine mandates, and saying he respects him as a player, but he wishes that he would, take him more seriously or whatever. And this is so crazy to me, because obviously the data of what they wanted versus what the, synthetic injections were, it's not like 100% effective from preventing transmission. And one of the big talking points that the experts have been talking about is preventing hospitalizations and deaths, right? They're like, well, it doesn't do what we thought it would, but it does do a little bit of this. And it's like, also, somebody that's shaped like Bill Gates, let's just call him, God bless the guy, but a reverse turtle, you know what I'm saying? He's shaped like a turtle, except the shell's on the front. It's like, dude, also you could take your health seriously. You got $1 billion. You could hire a personal trainer, because I would think that, getting in better shape would also prevent hospitalizations and death as well in everybody. So the just gall of people who do that. And I had a whole intro on the first one that was pretty funny about a President Slosif Biden, but maybe I can retrieve that and put it on my podcast or something. But it's like every time I'm on fire, they just cut me off. It's all good. It's just a little disappointing because I can't recreate the same live energy from the last one, but all good. When it comes to health, it's like when I had the pleasure of meeting Patricia Bragg. She's from Bragg's Apple Cider Vinegar. She's almost 90 years old. I got to hang out with her for a while with a friend, thanks to their family. And, I'm asking questions to Patricia Bragg, right? Because I'm not like this health supremacist, like I'm the healthiest person. I'm not. So when I meet somebody that's like 90 years old, right? And I'm like, you look great. She's moving around. I'm like, what's your secret? I'm like soaking up game, because I'm like, clearly this lady knows something I don't know. when I have professional athlete friends, it's like, what do you know? I know you guys have the best trainers, and I'm not like overly trying to like get information, but I'm like, I know my place. I'm not a professional athlete. You're in better shape than me. You got all these like this technology that I'm not even aware of. I'm soaking up game. And then you got Bill Gates literally talking down to one of the greatest. I mean, he was somewhat nice about it, but one of the greatest tennis players of all time, who in order to play like 5 sets of tennis, it takes unfathomable amounts of not only strength, but obviously stamina. And he's just like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't, essentially paraphrasing that, he doesn't take health very seriously. And it's like, dude, if you really want to prevent hospitalizations and illness, you could also do your part with $1 billion, hire a personal trainer, take Michael Moore with you. And, together you guys can get in Jeff Bezos shape, get on the billionaire boy body, the billionaire body boys, workout. Bezos looking good. Elon also looking like a reverse turtle, but he has self-awareness and he's not out here trying to get everybody, like force everybody to take the mandates and stuff. So that's the story. I actually have a 2-part story for you guys today, because I had one yesterday, but my internet wasn't working. There's this Pete Buttigieg clip that's pretty funny, so we'll go into that just for humor values. But before I get into that, I do want to wrap it up. I couldn't play the clips of Novak Djokovic. I'm afraid to play the clips of Bill Gates talking because it's a BBC interview. And although literally my entire show, I'm always sharing news clips, so is CNN, Fox News. But today, mysteriously, because Novak Djokovic takes such a hardline stance, against mandates and for his own body, now all of a sudden it's like a copyright block and they just take down my live stream. It's okay. All gravy. Let me play that clip and then we'll get into some other news stories as well. But America, what are we doing? Banning the greatest tennis player of our time from our own country when he's allowed at Wimbledon. And then we have turtle-shaped politicians and billionaires telling him that he's irresponsible with his health. It's literally like Looney Tune world. Like, this country, not to go on a huge rant, but I'm going to go on a huge rant. I looked it up because I drink raw milk now when I'm in California. It's actually legal to sell in California. That's one thing they got right. I was like, how many states are you allowed to sell it at a retail store? 13. 13 states out of 50 allows you to sell raw milk from a cow or probably a goat. How many states is it legal to sell all this sort of crazy crap that's illegal in Japan, illegal in Europe, dough conditioners that are illegal in other countries, food dyes that are completely unnecessary, illegal in other countries. People think they cause cancer in other countries, they ban them. All this sort of disgusting stuff. You go to the candy store in America, it's not even candy, it's not even chocolate. Cacao is good. There's nothing wrong with chocolate, but it's like, you read the ingredients, it's like Frankenstein. All our stuff is fake. Our food is fake. Our drinks are fake. There's all sorts of gross crap that doesn't need to be in it. You could use real sugar and not this like high fructose crap. But it's like, that's legal in all 50 states. But raw milk, folks, something natural. It's harder in certain states to do unpasteurized pomegranate juice from a fruit than it is to sell some freaking GMO like make-believe crap that they know is not that great. And I'm not just saying just GMO. There's all sorts of stuff. So it's like, I'm not trying to act like I'm holier than thou, because everybody has flaws, everybody has sins, and not everybody's in great shape. And I've never cared. I don't care what other people do. But when you have reverse turtle people looking, Bill Gates looks like he has a shell on the front. I'm not trying to be rude, but I remember I used to watch Franklin. Hey, it's Franklin. Can I sing that song, or is that gonna get a copyright strike on Facebook? They're like, dude, is that the Franklin song? Someone said before when I did my Joe Biden impression, they're like, your impressions are not that good. I'm aware. I might do some more. I might do some Obama, Trump, and Pete Buttigieg impressions later. And I promise you they will be terrible. So I hope you're looking forward to that. But in general, it's like, I'm not knocking people for their health. But when I got people looking like reverse Franklins walking up to me with a shell on their stomach saying, you're irresponsible with your health. What does that synthetic mRNA injection do? They're like, it minorly prevents hospitalizations and deaths. So does being fit, bro. You know what I'm saying? You should be thankful that Novak Djokovic is out here. Ask him some tips on. You got all the money in the world. You got all the time in the world, bro. Hire a personal trainer. I'm not being rude, but if hospitalizations is this crazy threat, do your part, dude. It's like listening to Michael Moore about stuff. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, bro, change yourself to change the world. All these activists, they're all running around like psychos, and they're not even complete in themselves. It's like mind-boggling. It's like mind-boggling backwards world. I don't get how more people don't see it. So I'm trying to crack through this narrative because they use people like Trump. You love Trump, you hate Trump, you know, and everybody gets caught. They're like, I'm a liberal and I define myself as anti-Trump. That's in my dating profile. Like, why? Like, why is that your whole life? Like, move on, you know, be your own person. They get people. I'm trying to get to the core of it. I'm like, don't you get that big pharma lobbies politicians? They're the number one lobbyist in Washington. I'm not saying COVID's the flu because I don't want Facebook to take this video down. And I don't think it is. I do think it's different. But in general, it's like, imagine getting, and this is just a hypothetical, imagine getting four flu shots and then getting the flu 4 times and then being like, I'm glad I got the shot because it would have been worse. Maybe that's true. I'm not, but it's like, maybe also, here's another hypothetical in a make-believe world that might be real. Maybe you got brainwashed by the media who gets paid by Big Pharma. Maybe you got brainwashed by the politicians who are the number one recipient from lobbying money from Big Pharma. They're paying off both sides of the aisle. Maybe politicians that are shaped like reverse Franklins and billionaires that look like a slab of potato salad that got left in the sun. Maybe they shouldn't be lecturing, Novak Djokovic on health responsibility. Or maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it should be harder to get raw cow's milk than freaking like alien candy that has like 1,000 ingredients in it. Or maybe they're lying to us. I don't know. You figure it out before I figure it out and get kicked off again. Speaking of that, here's my intro video. Oh, I wanted to let you guys know too, before I do my intro video, Germany, not me. I'm going to play the intro video in a second. Germany's health ministry, they have an official Twitter account for their news. I'm letting the fact checkers. I know how the fact checkers work. They're coming out of their little shells. They're like Patrick. They live in a rock. Every time I'm about to read, I have it on my phone. They're like, "Oh, is somebody about to question Big Pharma? We work for Big Pharma. No, we don't. We're bipartisan. Say my pronouns. Sure, she, her, him, they, whoever you are, God bless you. I respect you. Don't take this down. This is coming from the Germany Health Ministry. Okay, I didn't say this. They said this. This is official checkmark stuff. Okay. They said, ein van 5,000 Person ist van ein. Okay, I'm not going to read it in German. That's literally what they said. I'm going to translate it. Okay, this is the translation to English from Google. 1 in 5,000 people is affected by a serious side effect after a COVID-19 Impfung, which means vaccination. If you suspect Nebenwirkungen, which I guess means side effect, get medical attention and report your symptoms to PEI Germany. We're going to talk about that in a second, but this is not me saying it because I don't have this data, but the German Health Ministry is on Twitter literally telling people that they think that 1 in 5,000 people has a side effect, a serious side effect. Those numbers add up, folks, when hundreds of millions of people are getting vaccinated. But let's not talk about it yet, because I know the little gremlins are coming out of their holes. They're like, did you just read an official Twitter account? How can we say it's fake? How can we cover it up? I don't know. Maybe I should come to the next meeting. I'll help you guys. Be a little sneaks. Anyway, here's my intro video for yesterday's video that I didn't get to do. So it's going to be a little like intro-y, but there's a lot of funny, cool stuff in here. We'll talk about it. Hey, what's going on, folks? We have a great show for you today.
Could you please tell me what that word means? It's this one right here. Mm-hmm. Could you even say the word?
Congressman, I'm not in the habit of trying to read transcriptions.
Germany's verified Twitter account for news from the Federal Ministry of Health tweeted some very interesting statistics about COVID vaccine side effects. I'll read their tweet verbatim later. First, I want to show you this funny GOP rep confronting Pete Buttigieg with Joe Biden's transcripts. Take a watch.
Could you please tell me what that word means? It's this one right here. Mm-hmm. Could you even say the word?
Congressman, I'm not in the habit of trying to read transcriptions.
He also brought up some other pretty funny stuff in an attempt to get them to potentially replace Joe Biden because of his mental health.
We now have President Biden in office for 18 months, and just recently, we now see the mainstream media questioning President Biden's mental state, and for good reason. Sadly, he shakes hands with ghosts and imaginary people. he falls off bicycles. Even at the White House Easter celebration, the Easter Bunny had to guide him back into his safe place. Cue cards that say, sit here, or end of speech, which he actually states, that is, if he stays awake. So my question for you is, sir, have you spoken with any other cabinet members about implementing the 25th Amendment on President Biden?
First of all, I'm glad to have a president who can ride a bicycle. And
That's your
I
question.
will look beyond the insulting nature of that question and make clear to you that the President of the United States...
Have you spoken to any other cabinet?
Now here's my reaction to the first video and why I think they actually shouldn't replace Joe Biden in the Democratic Party.
Congressman, I'm not in the habit of trying to read transcriptions.
I bring this up to you, sir. I bring this up to you
on television.
because you...
Why does this look like an episode of The Office? I actually don't want them to replace Joe Biden because Joe Biden is exactly what their planning looks like. Don't let them fool you. Change is gonna come, okay? Home is where the husband is. They've been smooth for a long time. What he sounds like, looks like, and acts like, yeah, it's that bad. They're going to hide their evil agenda behind social justice, environmentalism, and racial issues to try to deceive the public. Don't let them fool you. The future depends on it. It's gonna be a good show. We're live now. All right, and for those of you hating on my subpar to slightly above average impressions, I'm gonna do a few for you now. Okay, it's Barack Obama. Okay, I talk like this because I don't know. It just makes me sound political. Okay, Joe Biden is very smart. Obama, you don't even have a birth certificate. Okay, no, I did the vaccine, not you. Okay, I don't fall off bicycles. Okay, I'm Pete Buttigieg. Me and my husband think that you can't even ride a bicycle. You're too fat. Oh, don't fat shame me. Okay, I got my vaccines. All right, that's it. Sorry, I'm terrible at impressions, but I was trying to, I'll get there. You know, I'm no Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, he's got like he reminds me of like a dog. He's like, yeah, tell me what to say. I'll say anything for the regime, please. Please just give me alcohol. But on that note, you know, someone said not bad, but not good. Let's be honest. Anyway, I actually don't want them to replace Joe Biden. Here's why. Not just because he's a perfect face of what they're doing, but when things are going bad, like during 2020, part of what they did, like obviously all that stuff, it's not like Hillary would have handled it better or Biden would have handled it better. Like, I don't think Trump handled COVID well for different reasons than the media. But it's like, it's not like the Democrats have a better strategy. They had a worse strategy. But psychologically, when an election comes up, like when things were good, Trump's poll, like, oh, he was going to win the next election. Like, oh my God, everybody's 401ks are going up and, you know, like things are going well for the most part in the country. And then COVID happens and they just make it seem like it's only Trump's fault. I'm not saying he's like completely innocent about it, but it's not like oh, he did it. Oh, he did like the Democrats were like, Trump is killing people with the COVID virus because he wants, it's like, so now that Biden's in office, things are not going good because they suck. So if they replace Biden before the election, it's not necessarily a good thing. That's their way of pretending like it's not their fault. Like, oh, we're going to put in somebody different. And they're going to, you know, psychologically, like Republicans should win the next election pretty easily. But if they replace him, then it's like, we've already done the replacement. You get what I'm saying? It's like, you don't need to vote Republican because, you know, we have solved our own problems internally. I want them to put him in a wheelchair and run, you know what I'm saying? Run him next election. I don't want him to slide away that easy. I think he needs to be there, not because I like him, but because I think that would be their sneaky way of brainwashing people thinking that they've changed the issue, and they're not going to change anything. With the Germany stuff, like I said, Germany's official government said that, not me. I don't have the data that the Germans have. Okay, we love the Germans. Okay, we'll give you oil. Okay, don't get your oil from Russia. They're literally saying 1 in 5,000 people is affected by a serious side effect. Mainstream stuff in Germany. Here's the crazy part with people trying to bully people like Novak Djokovic. These are some of the highest level athletes in the world. If you add up every athlete in the world, right? This is the crazy part. You add up every athlete in the world. I don't know, hundreds of thousands of professional athletes, maybe millions if you go to every country. Every country has a sports league, rugby league, basketball, soccer, football. You get what I'm saying? Let's just say there's a million. Do the math. If 1 in 5,000 people gets a serious side effect, that means out of 5,000, that's 1. 10,000, that's 2. 15,000, that's 3. So here's the craziest part. First of all, you can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do, especially even if it's 1 in a million or 1 in 10,000 or whatever the real numbers are. Maybe it's lower, maybe it's higher. I don't know, but it's just like, do you get how many people might have a permanent side effect that takes away their career? And I'm not saying you should be able to do it even if they did have liability, because I don't personally believe that. But they don't have liability. This is the craziest part about the whole thing. I've been screaming it from the mountaintops the whole time. I've never told people to get vaccinated or unvaccinated because I'm not you. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your, I've never told people what to do. In my family, I have a little bit more say of what I'll suggest to my, relatives and stuff. But to you guys, I'm like, I'm not your health minister. Okay. I'm no Rachel Levine, listen to the experts like Rachel Levine. Rachel Levine will tell you how to get healthy. Oh yeah, for sure. But in general, I've been trying to tell people it's really sketchy how it all went down. I'm gonna walk it through step by step. And I mean, I'm obviously missing steps somewhere, but whenever Reagan was in office, I don't remember the years, maybe the 80s, 70s, I don't remember. They passed something called the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Before that, vaccine manufacturers had liability for side effects injuries. You'd see mainstream reporting on CNN talking about people that were permanently damaged and stuff. I'm not saying it was every person, obviously not. Most people are vaccinated of some sort, and most people are fine for the most part. So I'm not acting like everybody's dropping dead. I'm not some sort of fearmonger, but just like with everything, there's a risk involved depending on the product. They're all different too. It's not like they're all the same. Oh, it's got to work because Big Pharma said so. That's not how crap works. I'm sorry. They've had products that backfire. They've had products over time. They used to put asbestos in housing and now they don't anymore. Things evolve, things change. And it's not like Big Pharma has a flawless track record. So out the gate that they're lying because they're acting as if you can't even possibly question their product because they said so. That's the first red flag. Let's just go through the red flags. All right, let's walk through the history. Someone said 1986, possibly. I think that was the year, but anyway, they passed the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Now, for certain vaccines, Big Pharma has no liability for side effects, injuries, and deaths. So now vaccinations become a massive cash cow because they don't have to pay out people who get injured. So then the schedule of vaccinations in children just starts increasing. I'm not saying that's why, but I think a big reason. I don't think that vaccine companies would have been able to make so many vaccines so available if they had to pay for side effects and injuries, no matter how rare that they were. Now you go to George Bush's era, and I believe it was George W. Bush, maybe it was the father, but I think it was George W. who passed the PrEP Act. And what the PrEP Act said was during an emergency, they can basically get liability shields from side effects and injuries if it's deemed an emergency. Okay, there's other parts of this story, but these are the important ones. National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, the PrEP Act. Now let's fast forward to Donald Trump, who this is a message I'm trying to get to Republicans, not to hate on Trump, not to stop him from running or anything. I'm not the January 6th commission trying to take away his tongue and ban him from Twitter. I'm not trying to do that. He's the leader of the Republican Party. Donald Trump's the most popular person on the right. He is the opposition leader. And until people in the MAGA movement address this as strongly as I do, we are, I'm not going to say myself, but it is a controlled opposition movement because your leader is part of the swamp. And whether you want to admit it or not, he enabled all this stuff. When he got into office, he hired one of the swampiest people, a pharmacy executive and a pharmacy lobbyist who used to work for Eli Lilly. His name was Alex Azar. Hey, God bless Alex Azar. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he's a good businessman. And I'm sure, he might even be a good person. I don't know. I'm not trying to knock the guy's spirit or anything. Maybe he's just doing business. But in general, Trump didn't hire an outsider like a Donald Trump to run HHS. He hired a pharmacy lobbyist and a pharmacy executive, okay? That same pharmacy lobbyist and pharmacy executive is the one who declared the health emergency in January of 2020, which spurred the PrEP Act, if you remember from George Bush, the PrEP Act that shields pharma from liability. And then Donald Trump funnels a bunch of money to them for Operation Warp Speed. Do you get what I'm saying? There is no Republican conservative. It's all controlled opposition until people get serious about this and confront Donald Trump respectfully and honestly about this, because he is part of all this stuff. The people that are so delusional saying, oh, he did it to save a 5-year lockdown. No, dummies. That's you trying to play Dungeons and Dragons with reality because you can't be a man and face reality. I'm not trying to be rude, but like so many of these Q decoders, and I'm not going softer on women, but in a way I am. So many of these people that are brainwashing MAGA moms and conservatives into thinking Donald Trump's a secret wizard, it's pathetic because it's like you're a grown man. And like when you're faced with a tough time as a man, you got to deal with it, right? It sucks. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it's like, let's face with the fact that he hired a pharmacy lobbyist. Let's address it and let's make sure it doesn't happen again and be men. These men are like secret beta gammas or something where they're like, I can't accept the fact that my hero might be part of the equation, and I just have to lie to women and tell them that, Trump is a secret hero that lives underground who's secretly saving us. It's like, it's so pathetic. It's so pathetic that grown men are leading this brainwashing movement, telling people not to call out and question Donald Trump and the fact that he's part of this big pharma operation scheme because it like hurts their reality. Like, it's so pathetic. I'll forgive women for falling for it, but these grown men who are telling these people this, it's pathetic. It's freaking pathetic. You should be ashamed of yourself as a man and a human. But in general, there's a reason I'm talking about all this stuff. That's the message I was trying to get to the public for the big pharma stuff. The National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, the PrEP Act, the fact that a pharmacy executive lobbyist was the one who spurred the emergency to shield them from liability. And now they're having this warp speed product. They use Donald Trump as controlled opposition to try to brainwash the people that they know are going to be against this tyranny and try to convince them that it's a Space Force thing. Operation Warp Speed. Let's use the controlled opposition guy to make it seem like it's a cool space mission when in reality, it's just him working with pharmacy lobbyists and executive to fast track mRNA technology that has never been made this available to the public and make it so the manufacturers who make them have no liability for side effects, injuries, and deaths. And now you have Germany admitting it's 1 in 5,000. That's what they're saying. I don't know if those are the real numbers or not. That's just what they're saying. So if you do the math of 200 million people getting vaccinated in America, how many people are getting injured then? I don't know, because the media covers it up, because the media is working for big pharma. The fact checkers are working for big pharma. The politicians in both parties are working for big pharma. Donald Trump is the greasiest, sleaziest vaccine salesman on the planet right now. He goes harder in the paint than Bill Gates for Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. He brings Johnson & Johnson on stage. He tells everybody it's this great miracle. He lies through his teeth and says 50 million lies. Donald Trump is part of it. So that's my message. It's like, I never told people to get it or to not get it. I'm just telling people they don't have liability because they got liability shields through pharma lobbying decades ago. And they don't have liability because Trump put a pharmacy executive and a lobbyist at the head of Human Health Services, or HHS, whatever it stands for. And he declared the emergency that shielded them with the PrEP Act. So to me, it's like red flag, red flag, red flag. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. See, these words, don't fall for these words too, folks, because they're like, oh, are you a Trumper? Are you like people even say to me, and I'm like, I voted for Trump in 2020 and I stand by it because I think strategically he's, got some value, over Joe Biden. There's some value there. As much as people think, I don't think so, but enough for me to stand by my vote. But at the same time, it's like, are you for or against Trump? It's like, can you be a voter? And I'm an American citizen over a Trump voter. I'm a human being over a cult member. So it's like, I mean, I'll vote for him, but if he does something I disagree with, I'm just going to say it, and then it's like, are you an anti-vaxxer? It's like, what does that even mean? Are you anti-juice? Oh, I'll have an orange juice. Okay. Why don't you get a cranberry juice? Oh, I don't like cranberry juice. Are you an anti-juicer? Oh, are you, I do like cranberry juice. I just don't want it right now. I might get it tomorrow. Oh, you're an anti-juicer then. Oh, do you like pills? It's like, I've taken pills. Are you taking the pill that I want you to take right this second? No, I don't want to take it right now. Are you an anti-piller? You get what I'm saying? These words are made up. It's like anti-vaxxer. And some people proudly take that label. I reject it because it's a stupid word. My whole life is not defined by rejecting vaccines. That's not even how I feel. I have, other passions and hobbies, but I'll take everything at face value, just like pills. I personally don't like pills, but if I have a fever going through the roof, maybe I'll pop ibuprofen or something to put my fever down. I'm not anti-pill, but I don't want to be an adult that's on 5, 6 pills like everybody else in America. I'm not knocking it. It's just like, that's our country. One nation swallowed up by big pharma, lobbying both your heroes, and then they put a little circus over it and make you think you're fighting for something when they control it. It's like, I'm not anti or pro. I'm just calling it like I see it. So regardless, the whole time, this is what I've been telling people. I'm not going to tell you to get it or not to get it, but I will tell you a few things. The more people that get it, the longer the tyranny lasts. And people always say to me, you're overreacting. It's all done. It's really not. I think the cruise lines recently rescinded from the CDC. The CDC took their tentacles off the cruise lines, thank God. But it's like, you still have travel bans. You still have people from other countries that can't get to this country. I mean, it sucks, that our country is still not completely free when you can't even have the greatest tennis player come and play a tournament here. And the reason that this all worked is because so many people complied. So it's like, even Donald Trump can't be the leader of a free country when he brags about double, triple vaccination. He says it's the greatest thing ever. And I guarantee you that Donald Trump has traveled and used his vaccine privileges in order to get in somewhere that he probably couldn't have normally got in. So it's like, if you're going to get double vaccinated, you got to promise me that you're going to stand your ground and not go anywhere ever that requires vaccination. But people don't want to do it. Even people that are unvaccinated, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. People that are, first of all, that word doesn't even make sense. I don't even consider myself unvaccinated. Like, what does that even mean? There's dozens of vaccines. You don't know how many I've gotten and not gotten in the past. And this synthetic mRNA technology, just to be quite clear, if you read the definition of vaccine and what vaccine does, I don't know that it even reaches the definition of what vaccine used to be. So I would call it a synthetic mRNA injection, therapy that, can minorly prevent hospitalizations, but does not even, create complete immunity. Like, that's just what's going on. So in general, it's like, if you're vaccinated, are you going to use your privileges to get in places? Okay, then you're not really helping the country, in my opinion, to free itself from the tyranny. I'm not knocking it. Listen, everybody's got you got to look out for yourself. Do what you think's best. It's on you. I'm just not thrilled with it. And then you got a lot of people who are quote unquote unvaccinated who rejected the synthetic mRNA technology that they have no liability for side effects, injuries, or deaths for. And they're doing fake vaccine passports. And I'm like, to me, that's even more disgraceful than getting the vaccine. I respect people who got the vaccine more than I respect people faking their passports. That's like, I don't want to use like a generic World War II example, but it's like, faking your papers and playing along with the system instead of rejecting it. I mean, I guess if it's life or death or something, but in general, it's like, this is why this stuff still lingers. You have a controlled opposition leader in the Republican Party, Donald Trump, selling the vaccine. As the left wing is banning people from places, he's running around the country selling it as if it's great. And so is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and Ted Cruz is talking about vaccination segregation. They're all frauds, but cooler frauds than the other side. So we act like they're heroes. And then you got 200 million people got vaccinated. And then out of the 100 something million that didn't, like half of them are faking vaccine passports. It's like, you might as well give up your constitution then, because it's not, I'm like shocked that so many people played along to this stuff, but I get it. Everybody's got to get it how they can. And everybody, has to look out for themselves at the end of the day and do what's best for their family. I respect military members who got it just to stay in the military, even though I respect people who didn't get it and got kicked out. But it's like, military members will take a bullet for this country. So if they're willing to take a bullet, a lot of them are willing to take a vaccine, even if they don't believe in it. So they don't, succumb the military to the left or a police officer. I respect it. But, they just announced that our military's downsized. They're downsizing our military because they can't get enough people. It's because they hate the people. I think Jesse Kelly said it pretty well. He's like, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, you hate the people who join the army. I'm not stereotyping, because all sorts of people can join the army, but a lot of the army is like, conservative type kids who like guns and, middle America type. It's like, you hate them. There's a bunch of anti-white rhetoric all over, your military advertisements and stuff. And you treat these people like garbage, and then you're forcing them to get a synthetic mRNA shot in order to join the military. and now you can't hire, it's because you're trying to recruit she, him, and hers who are not the target audience of people who join the military. It's like they're purposely sabotaging stuff. It's obvious, but let me know what you think. I'm going to read some comments. And just to wrap up today's show, Novak Djokovic, #1 tennis player in the world right now. Possibly, I'm looking at the stats because I like tennis. You got the greats like Nadal, Federer, Pete Sampras, say Agassi. You go back, there's legends. I think Djokovic has the pace right now to be the greatest tennis player of all time. I mean, he's already arguably there, but he's on pace to really be the best ever. And he's getting kicked out of major Grand Slams, and he doesn't care. To me, he's the #1 person in the sports world right now because, yes, there are high-profile people in other sports saying stuff like Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie Irving. But when it comes to being like the straight-up GOAT, and on a world scale, tennis is really popular. You got like kings and queens who go to the events in Wimbledon, maybe queens rather, but royalty, for lack of a better term, will watch. Like he's a big figure in the world, especially in Europe, etc. And he's out here just saying, I don't care what it costs. I don't care if it costs me a legacy. I'm not saying Kyrie Irving's not great. He is great, but in general, Kyrie Irving is not equivalent to Djokovic in tennis. Like Djokovic's a GOAT. Kyrie Irving is a great, great player, but still needs to win some championships. I think he has one with LeBron, but you get what I'm saying. Love Kyrie, but like Djokovic taking this stance is massive, and it's really revealing how far our country has slid when we're being stricter on freedom of medical freedom than even Europe. I mean, this should be an eye-opener to people in America. I'll just say this. I love America. I'm from America. I'm not trying to knock British people. God bless y'all. I'm not a hater of other cultures. I appreciate everything. But I'm American. I like my country. You know what I'm saying? I like our Constitution. I like the fact that we left you guys. I'm cool with that. But it's pretty embarrassing for this country to be on the, bad end of medical freedom when UK has a way more, supposed to have a way more socialist system than America. They're way more reliant on government with health and all that stuff. And even they're willing to let Novak Djokovic play tennis there. And this should open a window to how we are in America, because a lot of people just think America, we're better than everybody else. And in many ways, I do think that we are great. I'm not knocking us, but people don't realize that our country is one of the scammiest countries in the world. And I don't say this with pride. And this is the difference between, people got to realize just because something is capitalist doesn't mean it's good. Moral capitalism is good. Capitalism and constitutionalism among moral people. You could say what you want. You could bring Republicans to the south side of Chicago. You're not establishing, Fort Worth. You're not turning it into the other side of Chicago. Like, if there's not moral people there, that are not willing to at least have some morality, our systems don't work, whether it's communist, socialist, or capitalist. People got to act right. So in this country, we don't have moral capitalism. We have immoral capitalism, and we have immoral socialism. And at some points we have immoral communism. It's all immoral, and it's immoral from left to right. There's not a lot of moral companies out there. And I say that you look at Europe, yes, they're worse than us in many ways, but they have more morality in Europe when it comes to the food administration than in America. The food is better in Europe. The food is higher quality in Europe. They ban more foods in Europe. They ban raw milk in 20, 30, 40 states from you to sell, but they allow food that's illegal in Japan and Europe. So although I think we are, in my opinion, the greatest country in the world, we are not the greatest country when it comes to morality in food and drug administration. We are the big pharma capital of the world. We are the crappy food capital of the world. We are, we're scamming our own people. And this is where people get mixed up, because there is no moral leader on the Republican Party. I'm not trying to be rude. I don't need any more attention, or I'm not trying to be a hero or a leader. I'm just being honest. The left wing, I don't need to tell my audience how degenerate the left wing is. Everything they're doing is inverted. It's like if you do the opposite of what they tell you to do, you'll probably be a great, successful person. Now you go to the right wing. Donald Trump is not a moral leader. He's a salesman. He is a car salesman, a vaccine salesman, a McDonald's salesman. You know what I'm saying? A Taco Bell salesman. Anything America. It's like, that's cool. I get it. I love America too. But it's like Trump is a salesman. He'll sell anything. He'll sell water to a whale, salt to a snail, and vaccines to MAGA. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what he's talking about. he's not getting to the bottom of how we're getting scammed by big pharma and big agriculture. Trump doesn't give a shit. He's just trying to sell you on it. And that is America. Sell, sell, sell. Sell the people pills, sell the people obesity, sell them lockdowns for a little, sell them vaccines, sell them food that's illegal. And even though I think we're better than Europe, in many ways we're actually not. They don't do half that stuff. So I think it's really revealing that, Djokovic can go to England and he can't come to America. That's kind of in line with how we are when it comes to the Food and Drug Administration and like food and drugs. We are not the most moral country when it comes to big pharma. We're perhaps the most immoral country when it comes to big pharma. We're the most compromised by opioids and all this stuff, because a lot of these companies come from here and they just want to make a killing off us. So, the future, and this is where they want you to fight. I don't even get that much hate from left wingers. I probably get more hate from disenfranchised right wingers that are just mad at what I'm saying about Trump. But I'm not even going soft on left. I just told you I think they're wrong about almost everything. But it's like I also am not just trying to fight with them all the time. It's like, oh, capitalism's better than communism. Like, yes, but at the same time, it's not like the left sees that it's immoral. They just don't realize that they're falling for an even more immoral group of people. Just like you could say that it's a conspiracy theory that Donald Trump is the secret superhero. It's like, it's also a conspiracy theory to think that Joe Biden is going to save the world from climate. That's a dumber theory. It's dumber to think that Joe Biden, AOC, it's kind of hilarious. This is how I'm framing it. See, it's always about like framing it. Joe Biden, AOC, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, Nancy Pelosi, and Adam Schiff are going to save the world from the climate catastrophe. Oh, yeah, they just lie about almost everything. They're the most corrupt people I've ever seen in my life that are just completely backwards. But they have a plan to save you from the temperature. I used to buy into this stuff, folks. Climate change is real. Winter, summer, spring, fall, sun up, sun down. The climate is changing all the time, melting, growing. Climate change is real. The climate is changing. But if you get to the core of what they're saying, which I did, I'm like, they're saying 100 million people. This is their fear. 100 million people in America are dealing with really hot things. It's really hot. Read the article. Go in the article. Has anyone done that? Don't worry. I did it because I have to do it for my profession. Plus, I'm just a curious person. That's how I ended up here in the first place. But I'm like, what are they considering really hot that 100 million Americans are facing? Guys, 90 degrees. 100 million Americans are facing over 90 degrees in July, in the middle of July. That's their fear mongering. Go to Palm Desert, it's like 115 all the time. Go to Lake Havasu in Arizona, it's 120 every year. They deal with hot heat. That's hot as shit, but that's what it is in the desert. They're fear mongering that 100 million Americans are facing 90-degree heat in July. I'm not saying the climate's not changing, but you got to understand there are cyclical things as well. And if there is an issue, I do not trust Joe Biden and the same people who just lied to me for 2 years about lockdowns to solve the crisis. It's literally insane. I did a video on Instagram and TikTok that got a couple 100,000 views about bees. This is 2018, 2019. Walmart is filing for a patent to do robot bees, right? Here's the backwards American system that no politician wants to talk about, okay? They need robot bees because they say that bees are dying. Okay, I don't even think there is a bee crisis, but if there is a bee crisis, it wouldn't surprise me because they are spraying a lot of pesticides. Why are all the bees dying? Because of pesticides. So here's the screwed up, I want to say effed up, but I don't want to curse. Here's the screwed up, degenerate American system that in many ways is bipartisan. The left wants it. The right just says capitalism. They won't stop spraying pesticides to stop killing the bees. That's the natural thing to do. Oh, the bees are dying? Then stop spraying the pesticides. I've lived on a farm. I've worked on a farm. I'm not acting like I'm the toughest guy, but I have farmed for an entire summer. My stepfather's a farmer. I've worked on a farm, a massive one. I've picked strawberries. I've planted onion. I've done it all. I worked on a non-pesticide farm. It's more work. It's not easy. Pesticides are the easy route, but so is just being obese. It's like it's easy to do whatever, but it's like eating a strawberry that's organic and pesticide free. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced. But in general, it's not that hard to do a pesticide-free farm. Yeah, it's going to be a lot more work, especially for big farms, but it's doable. Anything's doable. People need jobs. It's fine. So, but in general, it's like instead of spraying pesticides or stop the spraying of pesticides to save the bees, they're willing to keep spraying pesticides. They don't care what it does to bees. They don't care what it does to Americans, and just make a robot bee to then do the pollen. This is like literally psychotic Black Mirror episode style, just complete subversion. And nobody cares about it because Donald Trump's selling vaccines. The left's fighting Trump. The left loves Big Pharma. Trump loves Johnson & Johnson. MAGA loves Trump. And then everybody tries to get mad at me when I try to tell them that this is not going to solve anything. This is such a, and then the left will be like, robot bees are good. And the right will be like, Walmart is so good. American. Oh, yeah. Walmart is so cool. Oh, Johnson & Johnson's so cool. I'm Trump. Oh, it's like, yeah, that like all business is not good business. That's capitalism isn't good unless you have moral people. I'm not going to say I'm one of the only moral people in this game because I'm not. There are, but I do want to say, and listen, I'm not a perfect person. I have a lot to work on, but it's like when it comes to advertising, I would say I'm one of the most moral people in this. Do you notice that I don't sell almost anything? I get offers all the time, but I'm like, I want to make sure I like it and it's made in the USA most of the time. And I'm like, most people will just sell anything, sell. I don't want to sell anything because I feel responsible. It's like if I'm selling something, I need to want to buy it. If I don't want to buy it, I'm not going to sell it. Most people will sell anything in America. That's why you hear these CEOs of these companies. They're like, yeah, my kid is not even allowed to use the device that I mass produce. It's like, why? Because you don't live by what you do. I get it. Trust me, I get money. It's good to have money. You could do things. I'm not poor. I get it. I'm not, I don't want to be broke. I'm just saying moral people make capitalism work. Immoral people will sell you pesticides, high fructose corn syrup, crappy ingredients, dough conditioner, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, whatever product, whenever. And I'm not knocking all their products, but you get what I'm saying? The left is just completely subversive, degenerate, and completely backwards. And the right wing are just scammy. They'll sell anything and just call it capitalism. Like it's not, be moral about your sales. Don't sell things you don't believe in. Don't just do whatever for money. Like that's and to walk people through why so many people tend to be left wing when they're young. I know the story because I didn't grow up conservative. I mean, looking back on it, my parents were apolitical and they didn't even talk about politics. So I had no parents telling me anything about politics. But I was more liberal when I was young because I felt like capitalism was immoral. And I'm right. It still is immoral. This is the difference. I'm not trying to brag, but it's like there's so many people that were like left wing and then they run to right wing and they become just an annoying right winger that's just like, I'm a team. It's like they run from the wrong side to the right side and then they become the wrong person just doing the same things that they're doing on the left on the right, where it's like this is why so many young people go left is because they look at what's going on and they realize it's wrong and their parents just tell them like, America, it's awesome. Like, just go make money. And it's like, it's not all about money. Even liberal companies are now sacrificing money for their own agenda. It just sucks that their agenda is wrong. Like it would be awesome if they did that and they were right, but they're so confused and emotional that they're actually like wrong about everything. But, which is just unfortunate. But it's like, this is why so many people lean left at a young age because they see the system as totally immoral and corrupt and they're right. But to be fair, I didn't grow up in this world. I didn't grow up in pronouns, and maybe I would have been super right wing because I would have seen the system as left wing. When I grew up, I saw the system as Republican. Now it's so obviously controlled by liberals, but I don't know. They still act like Cenk Uygur's like Republicans control the media. Republicans control Joe Rogan. It's like Joe Rogan is like a Bernie Sanders voter. He's not even right wing, but it's like maybe people still buy into Republicans own anything. What do Republicans own? Home Depot, My Pillow, like what? Everything is so far left nowadays. I would think if I was 19, I would know for sure that the liberals took over, but maybe not. Mark Laguna said, I grew up on the moon. I believe you, Mark. Fact check. Fact checkers say that Mark did possibly grow up on the moon, but the fact checkers don't care about it because they only care about covering for Big Pharma and Democrats. We get it. All right. We'll read a few comments. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. We're going to keep this stream under 55 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. You guys can someone said Hegelian dialectic 2024. Folks, I'm doing my part. Pray for me. I'm trying to crack the matrix right now. I'm not trying to hurt Republicans' chances of winning. I want them to win. I just don't want them to be what they are right now. They're clearly the more conservative party, but really at the same time, they're like the party of like just pretending. My big joke is they wear cowboy hats and then sell you out to foreign countries. They're like, yeah, I'm one of you. Now I'm gonna go get my big pharma check. I'm gonna go get my check from a few foreign countries, and then I'm gonna pass a speech law to say that it's illegal that I'm doing it. They're like, see you later, Patriot. And I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna cut it anymore. Someone said Cassidy Campbell in the building. Shout out Cassidy, my guy. Let's see. Someone said still in love with the Illuminati anomaly. What? I'm confused at what you're saying. People are like, they're like, dude, are you in the Illuminati? It's like, are we doing this right now? Someone said, agree, Bush Jr. and Cheney and Rumsfeld were the worst growing up. Yeah, and I saw that, and I was like, yeah, George Bush is not the guy. It's crazy though, because I like left-wingers. Most left-wingers that aren't completely dishonest have become right-wingers. Because it's like left-wingers used to be like against lobbying. Let's get the money out of politics, says Cenk Uygur. Bro, who puts more money in politics than Big Pharma? Big Pharma pays off more people. That's why they're doing stuff. It's like they're starting wars because, the weapons manufacturers are paying off people. So, okay, sure. So then what happens when Big Pharma pays off Biden, Trump, and all 4 candidates in the Georgia special election? What happens then? Does the world start moving towards Big Pharma the same way it does towards war? Of course it does. So the crazy part is the left wing in the 90s and the 2000s, they actually made good points. They were actually like, yo, this is correct. We can't let all this money into politics and lobby both parties. Now they're like, I love Pfizer. It's like, they're like, did you get your Pfizer? You didn't get your Pfizer? You didn't get your Moderna shot? Are you kidding me? They're like, what are you? They're like, J&J. And I'm like, where's your hole? I don't see your hole. Are you lying? And he's like, oh no, I got a tattoo of J&J. I got the Pfizer, the Moderna, and then I just got J&J tattoo because I love pharmacy pills. It's like, what? You get what I'm saying? I'm like, what? Like, this is not how the left was like 20 years ago. I'm not saying they were perfect back then either. They might have been lying then too, but it's like, on what? And then I'm like, hey, like, can we talk about mandates? They're like, what are you working for, Putin? Did Putin put you up to this? It's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? You think Putin made me like Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton? You think Putin made me like Trump more than Democrat media? You think Putin made me call out pharmacy lobbyists? Like, what? And this is the most annoying part about the left and why everybody's so confused is because all they do is talk about Trump, but they don't even tell the truth about Trump. I'll tell you the truth about Trump. He did a lot of good things, but if you want to talk about the downfalls and the corruption of Trump, I think he's getting Big Pharma is one of them. He put a pharmacy lobbyist, and there's a certain country in the Middle East that if you talk about them, they'll call you a bland-eye Blemite, if you know what I mean. So it's like, and I'm not knocking that country. God bless the people there. I'm not a hater. I'm just saying it's like, do you notice in America and in the Republican Party, you can criticize any of our allies or even just talk about them, right? If you're a Republican, who are our allies? I don't know, Canada, Mexico, in some parts, Germany, Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? We got Ukraine. You can criticize any of our allies in any sort of way. We have allies all over, Europe that you can criticize or question, and everybody loves it in the Republican Party. Yeah, question them. But if you talk about Israel, all of a sudden the lights go out and people try to ban you from places. They're like, don't talk about. Why do they do that? You get what I'm saying? If the left was honest, they would question the Republican Party with that, but they're in on it. They would question why Trump, cozies so hard up to pharmacy executives. but they're in on it. So it's like, it's all a controlled little thing where it's like they're fighting with Trump. They talk all this crap about Trump. Somehow they never mention the things that deserve to actually be questioned. So it's like a big show. They're like, Donald Trump threw the koi fish. Donald Trump threw koi fish food at the fishes. It's like, let's talk about it for 3 weeks. Like, are you guys Joe Biden in the head or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to talk about koi fish food? Like that's the big scoop on Trump. What about his text messages to Secret Service? Guys, you're reading a script. They got you in this total joke of a reality. They're like, let me look at, I don't even think January 6th was a good day. I think it was a joke. And I honestly think that Trump may have purposely set his people up, but maybe he's just a goofy clown and he didn't mean to set his own people up. But clearly he doesn't give a crap about the people who did get set up. But in general, I get it. They're trying to not let him run. He's got to lay low. I get it. But in general, it's like, I'm not going to talk about January 6th every day of my life forever. Like the left is like, did you see it? It's a joke. They're just getting you to run circles around like, and then Sri Lanka, they're like, oh, they're like, there's an insurrection. That's not as bad as January 6th. Like, what are you talking about? It's like 1,000 times worse. Such a joke. It's pretty funny though. All right, let me see. I'm gonna read some comments. It's almost fit. Oh, I went over my time. I'm trying to cut it over an hour. Let's see. Someone said the summer of love and Chaz. Dude, remember the Las Vegas shooting? Do you remember how quickly that disappeared? Ellen DeGeneres gave a softball interview to the only guy who apparently saw it, gave him tickets to like a sports game, and then like it just got swept under the rug. Let's talk about Las Vegas shooting for 2 years. Oh no, let's not talk about that. And with this Uvalde thing, dude, are you seeing the videos out of this? This guy's wife is like apparently getting shot and they just don't let him go in or something. I'm not saying anything because I'm not qualified to say anything and I'm not suggesting anything, but I get why they don't let you talk about this stuff. Let's just put it that way. I get why they don't want people questioning this stuff because once you start looking at it and questioning it, you're like, something's not adding up here. Either this is the most egregious form of cowardice and fraud ever seen, or something else is going on because it's like this bizarre level of just like such a joke. But God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. How's Justin Bieber's face? I don't know. You should message him on Instagram and, message him on Instagram and see like, be like, bro, your face okay? I like Justin Bieber. He's a great Canadian American, Pfizer. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That was mean. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I'm fact checkers. I'm so sorry for making that joke. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, put my face at that angle. I forgive me, please forgive me. I will watch Pete Davidson comedy for years. I'll watch Kate McKinnon dress up as Hillary Clinton and I'll get it straight. Orange man bad. My bad. I did not mean to make that joke. I already feel sorry. I'm going to talk to my PR agents that I don't have and, craft an apology letter to humanity. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go get my booster. I need to go get it to repent to the Fauci. Appreciate you. Have a beautiful day, folks. And just a few links real quick. I have patreon.com/raretalk. I have stayintouchwithme.com. That's my free email list. I have dreamrare.com. We have the God Bless hats. I want to give a quick shout out real quick to Steven Smith. Steven Smith is Kanye's sneaker guy. He's like one of the greatest sneaker designers ever. Super smart guy, like super design genius. He tagged me in a picture today and he was wearing one of the God Bless hats. So I think that's super cool. I've met him and talked to him and stuff. I gave it to him, but he tagged me in it and I was like, I appreciate him wearing it, especially because he's got very good design, very good design vision. And I made that in like 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm pretty pumped about it, but appreciate y'all. Have a good one. And I'll be back very, very soon.